right now we have Debbie and Regina, and Debbie's the coordinator, right? And so she's going to tell you a little bit about how this group started, and then we have quilts to show you.
Okay, we, as a group, Montevilla Quilts of Valor, we started in June of last year. And a little bit of a story on how we started. I have a friend, I'm a quilt teacher at Montevilla, and I've got a friend, a student, who wanted to make a quilt for a nephew that was returning from his second tour, Afghanistan. And so Judy asked me if I would help her make this quilt. And I said, sure. And she said, well, do you know about Quilts of Valor? And I told her I knew about Quilts of Valor, but I didn't know a lot of information. She gave me the information to go to the website, and I did. When I went to the website, something just touched my heart. And I knew that it was bigger than just Judy and I doing a quilt. And talked to a few friends, and it grew within a couple weeks. We had about 50 that were interested in Quilts of Valor, in making quilt tops. So from there, we needed a place. And I went to Brett and Christie, and Brett and Christie at that time offered their Portland store. They've got a classroom, and it can hold about 25. And so our first meeting was in June, and we had a full room, a full house, over full. We had about 30 that showed up for that first sew-in. And at that time, the email list had grown to 100. And we knew at that point, too, that we were outgrowing just a classroom of 25. So Brett and Christie opened up this location, Gresham here, and they opened up their Beaverton store. So now, here in our Portland area, we meet in 3 different locations. We've got 3 different classrooms. We meet on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursday, the second of the month, and we do a sew-in, and we do beautiful quilts. I'm just going to be showing you some of the quilts. Each of them, if you go to the website, you're going to see the requirements that make a Quilt of Valor. There's specific size, 55 inches by 75, smallest, 75 by 95, largest. And they have clear guidelines there for anyone that wants to do a Quilts of Valor. Now, not everybody coming in does the complete quilt. We've got phases, and I'll go ahead and show you some of that. These are all completed quilts that I'm going to be showing you.
You want to show the back?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this one is what they call quilting in the hoop. And so it's a quilt as you go. It's beautiful.
So that's fun. You have a reversible quilt. Yeah.
So we get a lot of quilt tops coming in. Currently, our 3 locations, we've got over 400 on an email that goes out once a month. And we get quilt tops that are brought in like this. This quilt top was brought in, and when it comes in, automatically I give it a number, okay?
Oh, okay.
Because that's how I'm wired for tracking these quilts. So it comes in as a quilt top. The next step for this Quilts of Valor is going to be, it goes to a long arm. And we've got several long arm gals that will do the quilting for us. It'll go there. And then, as you're looking around, you'll see some that are doing the binding. And then we've got some that are doing labels, and we've got some that are doing presentation cases, and some that are making the labels. So it's really a team effort. We're all doing the very best at what we can do, and it's just a pleasure.
You have some more?
It's an honor. You're right, Regina.
Do you have some more that you'd like to show us?
I'll show you. These quilts are ready for the label to be put on. So you're going to see these finishing stages ready for the label.
And the labels have the quilt maker and who pieced them, and then when they're ready to be presented, you'll put the names.
Exactly. And sometimes we know who the soldiers, who's going to receive the Quilts of Valor. And so we'll have their name already on it. Now the labels can vary, as you probably heard from our label maker over there. We have embroidery machines available to us, 10 needles, 6 needles, so we can do embroidery. But you can also, you can run them through a copy machine. The foundation, if you go on the website, has labels as well. There's many different ways to do a label. What's important is pieced by, quilted by, and for me, thank you for your service.
Yes. And we do, as always, thank all the service people. Veterans, those who are serving now, those who've served First World War, well, Second World War, Korea, Nam, Desert Storm, on and on and on. Because sometimes we forget, we think that if they're not, have some handicap we can see, there's nothing wrong with them. But we know that it's the internal part that's just as important, and they can hurt just more sometimes than the physical.
That's right. So here's another. And you're noticing red, white, blue, and gold as a common theme. Really, a Quilts of Valor can be any color, but with the red, white, blue, and gold color theme, this Quilts of Valor is the most versatile. It can go anywhere. The other would be the back. And if the back is flannel, then medevac. We can answer that call out in the field with a flannel back Quilts of Valor.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. Oh, how fun is this one?
This one's great. You're going to see just the variety. You know, every quilt is as different as every quilter. And this quilt was made by a new quilter. It was under our wings, and you saw a little bit of that where we take as coaches rookies and show them the quilting process. This quilt was done by a rookie, her first quilt, and it went to Quilts of Valor. So that's very exciting, and you can see the art that's done in the long arming. Isn't that beautiful?
Freedom isn't free.
That's right.
I like the fact that they can be a lot of different patterns. It doesn't have to be just one particular pattern. Quilt block.
Yeah, the pattern can be according to your skill level. This one's beautiful. This one has some beautiful quilting on it. And beautiful piecing. I know it's fun. I get attached to each one, and I know each of the piecers and the long armors that have done it. And, you know, I could fill time just telling you stories about the excitement. And it's so fun for the ladies that have done the piecing to come in and to see their quilt finished. Oh, a lot of tears. A lot of tears. Just that joy and that excitement and that love that you put into it, and then knowing just exactly the destiny of that quilt.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. So we got him upside down.
Do you want to flip it over?
Yeah, let's trade here.
This has flannel on the back.
This one has flannel on the back, you're right. So this is very versatile. Not only do we award quilts to our veterans and our soldiers deploying and coming home here locally in the Portland area, but also because I'm the regional coordinator, Southwest Washington, Northwest Oregon, I get requests that come into the foundation from anywhere. And if they're local, then we can do a local presentation. But we also send at least 10% to the field. We send them out. And as Medevac has requests, we've done blocks as a group to put quilts together for our Medevac units, and we keep them well supplied.
What a comfort when they're out there in the middle of nowhere and something's happened. to know that people who don't even know them care and love them enough to make something they can be wrapped up in. Oh, this is so fun.
So Quilts of Valor also has kind of a fun little thing that you can do. With the label, a lot of them are leaving just a little pocket, and in that little pocket putting a note. So we get several Quilts of Valor that come in and come through our group that have a note to the particular recipient, even though they don't know who it is, just thanking and expressing our gratitude.
Whatever is appealing to you, you're the one making it. Because unless you're making it for someone specific, you never really know who it's going to.
Isn't this beautiful? All of us are volunteers, from the piecing to the long arm quilting to the beautiful labels. We're all volunteering our talents for this.
The people who sit and by hand sew the bindings. Thank you.
Sewing by hand. Well, we have many more quilts. We're getting this one here. What a beauty. To show you. I love that fabric, that thank you. And as you know, a lot of the fabric manufacturers are producing quilt fabric for Quilts of Valor. And so we've got many names. If you go onto the website again, you're going to see who's doing what as far as fabric production for Quilts of Valor. But they're specifically locking arms with us to do. So I'm going to show you the back on this one. Isn't that fabulous? The things that are coming through our group here and all the groups with the foundation have such beauty and detail.
I think it represents people give the best fabric, the best effort.
Yes.
It's not just something they do because they're bored or they don't have
Yes,
anything else to do.
yes.
It's very intentionally the very best that they have to give.
And we will have the website. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, you can watch, and we'll give you the website, which is?
It's www.qovf, that would be Quilts of Valor Foundation.org.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. Thank you very much. And we'll be right back. Okay, I'm here with Victoria and Barbara, and they're going to tell you the wonderful story about the first Quilt of Valor that actually they worked on that came out of this particular group.
Okay, so I had just finished my first quilt for the Quilts of Valor and had taken it to the meeting, and unfortunately I had to leave. So what transpired after I left, Vicki was present, and she will tell you what happened after that.
Well, after Barbara left, a gentleman named Mike came in with his wife to have his machine or her machine serviced. He was asking what the ladies were doing in the back room, and that's our Quilt of Valor group. He came back, was looking at our quilts, asking if he could purchase one. We told him that we don't actually sell them. They're Quilts of Valor, but you can make a donation. He was asking how he could obtain one. Luckily that morning, Barbara had made and finished, completed a quilt, dropped it off, our only completed quilt in the building. As he's talking to us, he's explaining that he's getting ready to have open heart surgery in 2 weeks, and he's really wanting a quilt to be over him. It's a comfort thing for him. We talked about it, and as a group, we decided we would do an impromptu quilt presentation right then, and sure enough, Mike received our very first Quilts of Valor that was made by Barbara, and he was very, very pleased. He was able to actually come back to our very first presentation in October after he had had his surgery, doing fantastic, I also want to let you know. with his quilt. He was there at the presentation, showed everyone. He was proud. He was exceptionally proud to have something that other people went out of their way to make for him.
Right.
He wanted to meet you so badly.
I know.
He was so thrilled. I'd never seen such a prouder man, you know, at his age, having surgery, and to cry because somebody went out of their way to make something for him that didn't know him. But we were so pleased. Thank you so much, Barbara.
Oh, yes. Well, and that evening, Debbie called me, which was kind of odd. I didn't know why she was calling me, and so she wanted to tell me what had transpired that day. And I literally had chills down my spine, as I do right this moment, when she told me that they had made this determination to present this quilt right then and there, and it was my quilt. It was, I was crying too. I was just so pleased and just honored that my quilt was presented to the first one. And I haven't met Mike myself. I've sent him a card, and I know that he was at the other presentation. So that's why I do it, is to just give someone happiness. And I know it was of great comfort to him. And so, working on 2 and 3, so.
He said it gave him a lot of courage.
Yes.
It gave him the courage to go through the surgery and know that he would be great.
Right. And I think another thing that stood out to me was that when he was in the service, there wasn't any kind of support for the veterans. And what we're doing right now is giving that support and letting those troops know how much we care about what they're doing, and showing them in the way of the quilt how much we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to stop because I'll start crying again. So thank you very much.
And again, thank you all.